mining scandals bushed. Number 3, Afghanistan-Gate. Secretary of Defense Gates and the President keep portraying this as a year of success there, but this week the Pentagon disclosed that in fact insurgent activity is up by 40% in the eastern provinces alone, and American fatalities are at 50 for the first half of this year compared to 28 in the first half of last year. Folks at all levels are really taking a hard look at those statistics and saying, what are they telling us? A senior military officer told the LA Times. After letting the progress against the Taliban from 2001 deteriorate for 6.5 years, the administration is actually surprised that that progress didn't just magically hold up by itself. Number 2, Gitmo-Gate. The CBC, Canadian Broadcasting, asked a lawyer for a former enemy combatant named Huzaifa Parhat, a Chinese national, how his client felt about the Supreme Court ruling that those guys weren't enemy combatants anymore and did have the right of habeas corpus after all. The lawyer's response: my client doesn't know about this ruling because I'm not allowed to tell him. He's sitting in solitary confinement today. He has no idea what's happened as far as I know. This may explain why 200 former U.S. government officials, religious leaders, and retired generals issued a joint statement today demanding a presidential order to outlaw the interrogation and detention practices the Bush administration uses. One of the signees said, "It's a good time to take a step back, take a deep breath, and set a standard. If you have served in the armed forces, as I did in the Pacific in World War II, and you've been Secretary of State, you understand reciprocity." Which ex-Secretary of State said that? George Shultz, Secretary of State for Ronald Reagan. Number 1, Rove-Gate. Any remaining doubt about this man's mental state should be erased by this development. On Fox News, Karl Rove complained that the New York Times used the name of a CIA agent, Deuce Martinez, who was never undercover and never used an alias, and who interrogated Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Basically, Rove belched, it sounded to me like they were saying, we put his name out there because we decided we could. They've got a very callous view about our nation's security and interests. You sure do. Sorry, they sure do. Seriously, Rove? You gave up Valerie Plame, CIA agent, to Matt Cooper, per Cooper's testimony. You confirmed she worked at the CIA to Robert Novak, per Novak's writing. And the Times has a very callous view about our nation's security and interests? Your concern, Mr. Rove, is a little bit more troublesome than that. It's at about the same level as Osama bin Laden's.